of President Maduro as he exited the US military plane at Stewart Airport on his way to the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York City, where he is expected to face criminal charges. The plane reportedly carried Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. A new indictment, unsealed in federal court in New York, charges Maduro with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy and weapons charges. Flores and other senior Venezuelan officials, including Maduro's son, are also facing charges. Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, former diplomat, continues to be with us on the broadcast. Sir, of course, as you were saying, the fact that this foreign leader has been taken to the United States, and now the United States is, charging him, it is bringing charges against him. He's being indicted on multiple charges, not just him, members of his family, his cabinet. I would like to get your views on what President Trump had said in his address earlier as well, where he had very clearly stated that the US will be taking over Venezuela until such a time that a proper change of power can be overseen. Now, of course, that has not been specified, and that remains up for debate as well, that what exactly that means. What could such a takeover by the United States of America look like? Trump has obviously said that US companies will be going over there and doing business. But what do you think this implies? What will it entail when Trump says that the US will be taking over Venezuela for the time being?
This sort of thing used to happen decades back, not even decades, centuries back. When the East India Company took over India, for example, more than 3 centuries back, 4 centuries now. So, in this day and age, firstly, to say that you will take over a country and take over the running of the country, and that too as economic colonial power, I think is going to face a lot of backlash. Secondly, the template that is being thought of to take out the natural resources, which is oil and energy and rare earths and minerals from Venezuela, and use it for the benefit of both the countries, as was stated. Whether it is justified by international law is another big question mark. Thirdly, if you're going to be sending out only your companies which are going to look for economic profit, and you're going to send what he mentioned was Rubio and Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary and the Secretary of State, would be not Defense Secretary, but Secretary for War and Secretary of State would be in charge. Now, if that is the template that you're going to use, that means you're no longer focusing on the development of the country. You're focusing on just the economic aspects, the transactional aspects, the defense aspects, like we did in Afghanistan. If US has spent tens of billions of dollars in Afghanistan over so many years, it has hardly created any infrastructure or any positive sort of balance. If you look at the expenditure, it was mostly military and training and war against terrorism, of course, but they were not building up schools or colleges or roads or bridges. Now, Indian assistance to Afghanistan, for a change, was meant for development of the country, of the people, and infrastructure. You make the parliament, you create an airline, you create the banking system, you create schools, bridges, roads, etc. So if your outlook is only transactional as to how I can benefit from their resources and how I can make my companies richer and get more money out of Venezuela, then the overall state of the country, you're not thinking about the people of Venezuela. You're not thinking about the economy of Venezuela. You're not thinking about the development or growth of Venezuela. You're just thinking about how you can get the maximum benefits out of Venezuela. It is not the best template. It is a colonial mindset. It is a Western mindset. So I think with this day and age, what it is going to do is to hasten the end of the Western domination over world geopolitics and their definition of rule of law, because it's a flagrant violation of the rule of law, and this is being seen very clearly by the rest of the world. So the downfall of the hegemony is going to be made faster. The Western world itself is divided. A large number of countries from Europe are not supporting this action. Unlike in the earlier cases, when they would call it the Alliance of the Willing or some such name and go into other countries like Iraq or Afghanistan. So it is fragmented. There's no justification. There's no possibility of creating any justification on the basis of the charges that they have made. Nobody's going to buy that. So it's going to make their standing on the world stage very weak. Their argumentation is, very duplicitous. It is hypocritical, so nobody is going to be buying that. So it's going to make the American position even weaker than what it was earlier. And if there has to be the Thucydides principle, where the challenger hegemon is waiting on the sidelines, which is China, and that is going to empower China to also step into Taiwan similarly, without any challenge from the US, and hasten the downfall of the hegemony of the US, and sort of expedite the rise of the next hegemon. So those sort of repercussions may happen. I hope, God willing, it does not happen, and that the US and the Western world sort of understand that they made very serious mistakes, try to correct those mistakes and not repeat them for the future, so that the world can be a better place to live in. Thank you.
Well, sir, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective as we, of course, track this very big story. But I would like to thank you for joining us. Meanwhile, viewers, that's a wrap for this bulletin. We'll slip into a very short break.